So my next question is regarding Google only. So what is your viewpoint on Google becoming the biggest information source and force in the world?
See, all these service providers definitely collect data at times for improving services. So as a user, we should be very, very careful. I tell people that, any photo, video, document, text, if you create, which can be misused, which is objectionable, it will be leaked somehow or other. It will be misused definitely by somebody sometime. So my piece of advice to most of you is that never create a piece of information which is not required, right, which is objectionable. Because if you were to repent later on that how it has been leaked, it's better not to create it. So if you want any data to come and haunt you, don't create it in the first place itself.
So it will not be a utopia to achieve.
Sorry.
So will it not be a utopia to achieve, like to never make a fault, or to never do such thing?
No, so the idea is, let's say if you are recording nude photos, right, then definitely that will be misused. That is something which is avoidable. Writing abusive language is avoidable, right? So what happens is, if your normal activities are recorded and leaked, that might have a small risk. Whereas if an objectionable photo or abusive comment is recorded and leaked, it will be a much bigger problem. That's one. All these companies will not reveal all the data by themselves because they are too good, too big a company and too reputed a company to do all these things. Most of the time, attackers do not attack Google servers. They attack user side of it, the client side of it. They will send a phishing link, they will send a keylogger, they will send a virus or a ransomware. So they will try to extract all this information and data about you from you using your client side. So we must be very, very concerned and very, very aware of how to protect ourselves, how to make sure that keyloggers are not installed, viruses are not there. We should not go to those websites which can give us viruses, unauthorized websites or illegal websites, because if we go to those places, we will get viruses and keyloggers installed, and that in turn will take away all my data. Right? So data leaking from these big companies, chances are very less. Data leaking from your side, chances are very, very high. So I think we should first put our house in order. We should make sure that we take all the precautions. Second is, try to avoid creating controversial and data which can actually be haunting you later on.
Sir, what kind of data do these people actually try to exploit? Because whole day we are creating some data in a manner or other, but what kind of data is it that is useful to them and harmful to us?
So what they do is they sell your data in terms of your interest. Let's say if you are searching for something, they try to profile you. For example, I'm an advertising company. I go to Google and ask, I want to give an advertisement to people who are in their 20 to 30s, who like a particular kind of color or particular kind of brand, and I will do that. So what they will do is they're recording all these things. They're recording our age, they're recording our preferences, they're recording our activities, and based on that they profile us and they select whom to show what ad, right? So the idea is, you are being used against you. You are being used to mine your preferences to serve you better, and in name of serving you better, they are giving you advertisements, they are selling your data, right? So what I typically do is, I have multiple profiles, I use multiple email IDs. I am not having single email ID so that they can profile me, and that is something which you can do, right? So do not give them accurate data, and if you're not giving them accurate data, probably the whole purpose of saving your privacy is achieved.
Right. So in this way, our advertisements are personalized. Like they monitor us every time, monitor every search is that. So one other thing, like I search for something somewhere else, and I open some other website, some website that I'm opening for the first time. I'll see the same advertisement there also, as to what I've searched to this morning, or last night, or day before yesterday. So how are all these websites interconnected? How are all these providers interconnected?
So as I told, they use the common ad platforms. They sell information to each other. They share information. So it is suspected that, let's say, if you are in your home and you're talking to your family members about planning a trip to Kerala, or by going by flight, and Alexa is on or Google Home is on, it will record it. This data will be mined, and when you go and search something on Facebook, ad will be shown for flights to Kerala and so on. So they exchange data. They buy and sell data. So you must be very careful about what data you want to create, what data you are generating, what you are searching, and then all of this is interconnected. Just a second.
So a new form of storage called cloud storage is this term is so much in use these days. So how safe is it to store our data on cloud? Like all these Apple devices or Google devices, they have this cloud storage. You need not to physically transfer data from one place to another. So where does it get stored and how safe is it?
Yes. So these cloud storage basically are huge storage device where data is stored in various servers which are having extremely high capacity, and they are big servers located in cloud specific data centers. But safety depends on you. Let's say if I have to store some data on a cloud, I will encrypt and then store, so that if tomorrow this data is leaked, they still will not have access to my data because it is encrypted. Right. So maybe you will not be able to always encrypt data, but any critical data, let's say we are putting something on Google Drive and it's an important business plan, something which is very, very important, you should always encrypt and then upload. That is the primary thing which you can do. Second is keep a backup of whatever you are storing on cloud, because tomorrow, because of any reason, let's say you lose your credentials, you lose access to your account, your data may not be available to you. So you should always try to keep a copy, occasional backup of these cloud service providers. So what I do as a personal choice is I go to my cloud, Google Cloud or Google Drive or whichever cloud service I'm using. Every 3 to 6 months, I download everything from there on a hard drive so that I have a backup of all my data. This is also very, very important. But when you are in the virtual world, you cannot always avoid using cloud. So critical data, sensitive data must always be encrypted. This is the only precaution you can take.
Right. So I think the coming of masked Aadhaar cards is one step towards this thing. So when we apply to some place for like I apply for internships, we apply for jobs and other things. So we send our profiles that include the mark sheets, the certificates, other documents. So how can our mark sheets and certificates be misused? Is there like can they be misused? And if yes, then
Yes, so any document can be misused, starting from your Aadhaar card to PAN card to mark sheet. Anything and everything is being misused because they are your personal data, personal accounts. At times, to open a bank account, people are misusing this. To take SIM from the service provider, they are misusing it. So first is, whenever you are, let's say, photocopying any document, make sure that you photocopy at your home by scanning it and printing it, because if you go outside, these photocopier guys, they take extra copies and they sell this data. Even if they're not taking extra copy, whatever they are scanning, it's stored into the hard drive on those scanners, and later on they can print extra copies and misuse this data. Again, whenever you're sharing your Aadhaar card or a PAN card or any other such document which contains identity as well as address, you should write what purpose you are issuing it before giving out to anybody. Do not give out to anybody and everybody, because then they can make copies and misuse it, right? If you have to give it to the bank, don't give it to the agent, go to the bank and submit yourself. That is something which you can do. Most important is write on the document itself in bold and big characters in the center of the document what is the purpose of this document and for what purpose have you shared it. So let's say if you on the mark sheet where the total marks is there, you have written a message saying this has been given for internship. Now this document can't be misused for something else, otherwise criminal has to do a lot of hard work to remove all these things. So all our hard copy documents actually have potential for misuse. We must stop it by writing the purpose of the use.
right. So moving ahead, these days these kids are so much attracted towards online gaming, especially at the times of COVID when we could not go out and games
True.
games like,
Absolutely.
Ludo King, Ludo King have been played in every house. So other games such as Blue Whale, this game Blue Whale, which has been very dangerous.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
how are children exposed towards these things and how can they be protected?
See, online games and internet addiction, this is becoming real. So there is a study that, if you give exposure to very, very young kids, let's say up to the age of 2 years, if you are showing them TV screen, if you're giving them mobile phones and tabs and giving them animated videos, very likely when they grow up in their teenagers, they will become internet addict. So first precaution is to the young parents and the guardians of the young kids that don't delay the exposure of screen time as much as you can in the early age. That will be a one big contributor in terms of stopping addiction. Second is when kids, young teenagers and the college goers and the young professionals who are becoming addict, we must educate them that, whatever likes you get, whatever games you play, they all are going to impact your mental and physical well-being. Because if you are playing games for long hours, your mental well-being is going for a toss. Since you're not going out, your physical health also is going for a toss, right? So these addictions are real. We need to find ways and means to ensure that, because now COVID is no more, we must ensure and encourage everybody to go out. Instead of talking to friends on virtual platform, go and meet them. Parents and teachers and the stakeholders and the society also has an important role, that physical games, physical activities, meeting people in person is more important than doing all these things virtually. And we should not wait for likes, because people post photos, they take selfies, they make videos at dangerous locations so that they can get more likes. We need to tell them this is a psychological condition, this is a mental health issue. There is a mental health issue, we need to talk to the mental health doctor and practitioners. And these days we have internet de-addiction centers also, which can help you get over the addiction of the internet and the online gaming which we have. In last, what I also want to say that, because we are human beings, we want to do things which others are also doing. So what I have done for myself is I spend a dedicated half an hour for wasting my time. So every day 6 to 7 or 6 to 6:30, half an hour is dedicated for checking Facebook, Instagram, Reels, whatever I want to do. So but time is fixed. So what happens, if I don't fix up this time, I waste my unlimited time. I do it for hours. But if I have a fixed time for doing all these things which are not probably going to contribute in my progress, but I want to catch up with these things, so I have a fixed timeline where I stick to my time so that it does not become addiction. It is limited to only some small amount of time. I've also written a book, Cyber Unsafe, which contains small stories and like key takeaways of what to do for various kind of cyber crimes which are happening, for various digital issues which happen to us in daily life. And it also tells you what can you do in terms of small change in your digital etiquettes, so that most of the cyber crimes can be avoided.
So I basically suggest all the viewers to read this book, Cyber Unsafe. So when you were speaking about these children getting addicted to internet, so is there a possibility that the cyber criminals, they target some child and just keep a track of his or her activity from the childhood, and up to a certain age, say after 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, they try to in a way mold them into cyber criminals, or get
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah. So kids and the senior citizens, they are on their preferred list. Criminals target kids and senior citizens because kids are innocent. They don't understand complete things. At times it's very easy, and they're very vulnerable for such kind of attacks. So they are being monitored. So we need to make sure that kids do not reveal personal information, and they don't spend too much time which is unsupervised time on internet. Whereas for the senior citizens, they have a lot of money because they have nest egg, they have recently retired, they have money in their account, and they are also not using technology very well. They are shy to ask help from youngsters, and youngsters don't have for them. So these two particular class of people, age group wise, are most vulnerable. So what we need to do is, as a young person, we have responsibility to spend time with kids as well as elderly, and help them understand technology, help them understand how crimes happens, help them solve the issues which they face. Because if we do not solve their issues, they will go to internet and try to find out solutions on their own, which in turn can be tapped by criminals to actually misguide them and trap them. And that's where things go wrong. So if we spend enough time as a family with our youngsters and the kids and the elderly, we can always help them avoid cyber crimes.
So all this data being created, if we try to delete it, can they be deleted in true sense, or can they be retrieved from any point?
Digital data once created never goes away. So whatever you do, your digital data remains, right? So if you type something, you take a photograph, everything is always available on a storage media. It is just a matter of time and the right set of tools which somebody can use to extract and recover all this data. Even if you do a factory reset of a phone while buying a new phone and giving your old phone as an exchange, from your old phone, which has been factory resetted, everything can be recovered in just matter of minutes. And it might have your personal photographs, it might have your credit card number, it might have your passwords, and all this can be misused.
So these days there have been many apps on Play Store and Play Store, which work towards recovering data that have been deleted. So like, can there be apps like these, or
So
when
there are,
yeah.
yeah, so there are forensic solutions. There are solutions which can recover data, but apps may not be the appropriate way, because these apps at times, in guise of recovering data, might also be taking your data away, might be leaking your privacy. So, but there are tools with law enforcement agencies which can extract this data to an extent in legal manner without doing anything wrong. So we must know that we should not create any data which is bad and malicious and unlawful, whereas this data can definitely be recovered by others.
Right. So when we delete, like you said, you factory reset your phone. So suppose my phone has 32 GB of storage and 30 GB of it is covered. So when I delete it, like all the space gets vacated. And you said that things can be recovered. So where are these deleted data stored?
So, data in a phone or in storage device is like library. Data is there at one particular place, and file name and the details about this data is there in the index. So if you remove the index, it does not mean the files from the library are books from the library are gone, right? Books are there. Similarly, once you remove and delete these things, data remains, only the reference to data is deleted. So these tools go back to the data, reconstruct everything, and can extract and recover whatever data you have marked as deleted. So in most cases, this data is there. With today's technology, we can recover this data very easily. Tomorrow, we may also have a technology which can recover overwritten data, right? So we don't know how much more development will happen. The best and the safest is to ensure that our acts are clean. We don't do something which is malicious or illegal. And that's the best safeguard I can suggest you today.
Right. So in your view, is getting more and more dependent on technology a reason for all these crimes happening?
See, earlier, if somebody has to do a robbery in Bank of America, he has to go to America with 5-10 people by taking visa, by taking ammunition, and then robbed. But today, you can go to www.bankofamerica.com and try to hack it, or else you can send keylogger and virus to the customers of Bank of America and phish them and extract their username and password and can try to do a fraud. So now, what has changed from physical world to digital world is speed of reach. Speed at which I can reach to millions of people in a click of mouse was not available once upon a time. Right. So once upon a time, it used to be the case that if you were wealthy, you could buy security. There were people you could buy who would safeguard you. But today, if you are rich, it means you have more digital device, which means you have more digital footprint, which means it's very easy for criminals to get into your digital footprint by one of the device, and it makes you more vulnerable. If you are wealthy today, it is actually working against you.
Right. So my last question is a bit hypothetical and a bit dramatic also, you can say. So in movies we have seen that machines have been the driving force. Like they have been directing people what to do and what not to do. And at times if people don't listen to machines, they went on to take revenges. There's an Indian movie also called Robo by Rajnikant, and there's one movie of Hollywood. I'm not remembering its name, but it one time suggested that something is going to hit the world, but no one listened to it. So when it actually happened, it went on to take revenge from everyone. So uh, do you think that such world can be a reality where machines can become our boss?
So I think that that kind of thing may happen, but it is little far away. But what can actually happen is machines becoming more and more available, more and more widespread in terms of poking right us in the face in our daily activities. And if we do not interact well, if we do not develop our understanding and our interaction and the rules of the game well, there might be conflicts. They might not be intentional conflicts. Machine might not be taking revenge. It's just that we are not comfortable and we do things which might ultimately harm us. So in our near future, what is more important is to develop solutions which are idiot proof, which means if somebody is doing something which is not right, still the person should not get harmed. And we need to train our artificial intelligence and machines and the robotics which you are developing, keeping in mind that people will do things which are not right, and still people should be safeguarded. That should be the motto of the development. And as I told, technology is here as a powerful tool which can change our lives. But if we do not use technology as a tool, but let technology become our master, then there is a problem, right? It's like phone as a tool is very good thing, but let's say if you are sleeping and phone is beeping, giving you notification, unnecessary notification, and you are not sleeping well and checking notifications which were unnecessary notifications, then your sleep is disturbed. That means now technology is dictating you that you go and check the phone. Your more screen time actually is more revenue for the company, and that's where they're sending you notifications.
Right.
Isn't it? If something is important, somebody will call you rather than sending a notification. So idea is we should make sure that we do digital detox, we do digital restraint, we understand how technology is working, we take precautions by knowing how cyber criminals are doing fraud. We must know about how machines can do things which are not right for the humans, and try to take accordingly precautions. And that is where the cyber unsafe book which I have written, because a lot of people were calling me when they were defrauded, and I could find out there are a lot of red flags which, if people read about these kind of frauds, they will red flags. And let's say if somebody is trying to do fraud against them now, these red flags will help them avoid such crimes. And that's where I wrote this cyber unsafe book, and this is, I think, 5-star rated. It's doing very well on Amazon. But I've got very good reviews. I will suggest you to go and check out the reviews at Amazon where the book is listed.
Yes, sir. I checked out that book myself. Even I asked my friend in college to just get you this book issued from the library for me. So when I go there, I'll read it. Sir, throughout this talk, we have talked about the preventions that can be taken or the awareness that can be taken. So I think what I deciphered from this talk is by taking preventions, by becoming more and more aware, we can avoid these crimes to a greater extent. So, but do you have any suggestions for policy changes that can protect us from these kind of things, like policies for manufacturers, policies for the providers?
So there are two things. One is awareness, as you told, where you can take prevention. The other is actually solving problems technically, where a lot of researchers and academicians are solving these problems. Again, I have talked about a lot of problems which need technical solutions in the book. Then there are other agencies like government and industry. So there are a lot of development for each of the stakeholder, where, let's say, in Technology Act amendments are taking place, new rules are being made. Companies are being asked to do certain things so that they can safeguard in terms of their platform being misused for carrying out cyber crimes. So all of this is happening. Every stakeholder is actually doing whatever they can do to make sure technology is not misused and cyber crimes are curtailed.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for recording with us. I'm sure that our listeners will get to know a lot about how to be cyber safe. And again, I'd suggest everyone to go through your book Cyber Unsafe and become more and more aware. And let's try to avoid all these kind of crimes via collective effort, because that's the only way out I can see.
And you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn also. I'm there on LinkedIn. I keep posting related content on how to avoid cyber crimes. If you search Gaurav Gupta Digital Forensics on LinkedIn, I think you will reach me. You will get me.
Sure, sir. Sure. Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.